good.
Amanda Bechtel missing for 2 days, now found. Her shark-eaten body washed up on a secluded beach on Catalina Island, just 20 miles southwest of Los Angeles. Amanda Bechtel was the wife of Maverick.com entrepreneur Will Bechtel, founder and CEO of the popular search engine ZincLink. Will and Amanda were returning from a yacht trip to Catalina when she disappeared. Earlier today, police searched Will's yacht and have arrived at his corporate office within the last hour. Did Will Bechtel murder his wife and dump her body in the ocean to cover up his crime? That is what police are now asking.
I contacted the LAPD. Says the police are here just to search the office.
A lot of press just for a search. Executions don't get this kind of press.
Mr. Trott, I'm the one who called.
Where's Will Bechtel?
He's with the police. He's been talking to them about an hour.
Then he's an idiot. Never talk to the police until you talk to criminal defense lawyers first, and even then, never talk to the police.
I told him not to, but he wouldn't listen. He's too upset to think straight. They just told him this morning about what happened to Amanda.
And you are?
I'm Robert Jones. I'm with the company. I'm a friend of Will's.
What the hell's going on?
We're conducting an investigation.
These are the criminal lawyers I called, Will. T&G.
Who told you to do that, Robert? I don't need criminal lawyers. I didn't do anything wrong.
Take it easy. Just show us the arrest warrant. What? Don't you have one?
Mr. Bechtel's coming voluntarily.
You insane? Never go with him voluntarily, and never agree to let them handcuff you.
It's okay. I want to cooperate. They told me I'm not under arrest, and the cuffs, they're just procedure.
You've got no arrest warrant? You just want to take him out of cuffs, so it looks like you arrested him. Unless you want to be hauled in front of the police commission, uncuff our client now! What were you telling the police, exactly?
The truth. That I loved my wife. I don't know how she wound up in the water. We'd been drinking that night. Me, Amanda, Robert.
Wait, Robert was there too?
Yeah. He sailed the boat back from the island.
Get Alden and Tom to talk to Robert alone. Now, we need to see if Robert's and Will's stories line up.
Robert will back up what I'm saying. Here, I'll have him come in.
This isn't some board meeting where you get to call the shots. You think if you tell the police a story, they'll just believe you and walk away? They won't.
Will and I have been friends since school. He was always looking after me. Amanda I knew since 9th grade.
We met in high school. Amanda was a cheerleader. I was nobody.
But you work for Will?
Yeah, I'm the executive vice president of community outreach.
So he's your friend and your boss. You do and say what he wants.
No, Will doesn't make me do anything that I don't want to do.
What happened that night, Will?
The three of us had dinner on Catalina. We drank. Amanda left before us to go for a walk. I went back to the yacht to get some sleep in the cabin before we headed back to LA.
I stayed at the restaurant and had another drink, and then went back to the boat. Amanda was supposed to go back too.
Did you see her on the boat?
No.
Think, what happened next?
At some point, I woke up and I realized that we were sailing back to LA. I went up on deck. Robert was at the helm, and Amanda wasn't around.
So you don't know how she ended up in the water?
No. By the time we realized that Amanda wasn't on board, we tried to radio someone for help, but we couldn't get the damn radio to work, and there wasn't any cell phone coverage.
So, how was your marriage, Will? You ever fight?
Yeah, everyone fights now and then.
Did you fight the night she died?
Yeah, but it wasn't a big deal.
Cops will make it a big deal.
They don't have any evidence that he did anything to her, do they? I didn't kill her, you son of a bitch.
Hey, relax. Ron was making a point. The police have a way of twisting your words.
You are not going out to talk to the cops. You'll talk yourself into a conviction.
I can take care of this myself.
That's your problem, Will. You're so arrogant, you actually believe that. Listen to me. If you talk to the police, we won't defend you.
Look, you sound like you know what you're doing. And I really want to keep you on my team, but you're gonna have to let me go and talk to the police and at least try and clear this up. I'll give you a couple of $1 million to stay in the case.
Letting you talk to the cops would be legal incompetence. We won't commit that for any price.
Fine. Then,
I'll save you the trouble of quitting.
You're fired.
At least it's not our problem anymore. Can you imagine having to put that guy on the stand?
Proud of you, Ron. The way you gave up money for principal.
I didn't give up anything. This case is too hot to pass up. We're still Will's lawyers.
What are you talking about? Will just fired us.
He only thinks he did. Congratulations, Robert. We now represent you.
What? Why do I need a lawyer?
There are 3 people on a yacht. One ends up dead. The other 2 are going to be blamed. It's almost a mathematical certainty.
But they haven't even arrested Will. They're just talking to him.
They will arrest him, especially after he talks to them.
And I can already tell you what the DA's story will be. You or Will killed Amanda. Our strategy is this. Nobody talks, everybody walks.
DA's plan is to get you to start pointing fingers at each other. That's why they split you up. Today they came for Will, tomorrow they'll come for you.
No, Will and I are friends. He would never blame me for murdering Amanda.
Robert, I've been doing this a long time. The police have a way of turning best friends against each other. Don't worry about our fees. We'll defend you for free. I'm going to make Will pay for both of you.
He's not going to rehire you. Once he's done with someone, he's done with them.
Oh, he'll rehire me.
He won't. You don't know Will.
You don't know Ron.
100% innocent.
I'm the innocent bystander. Somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the lawyers, guns, and money.
Like I always say, if you got the right lawyer with you, we've got the greatest legal system.
Bad news. The prosecutor on the case, Andrew Reyes.
Oh, damn. Reyes is good. Very good.
This must be why we haven't been able to get any details about the investigation. Reyes never leaks.
And he loves to go after rich defendants, guys like Will Bechtel.
Luther can't get anyone at the LAPD or the DA's office to tell him what Will has been saying to the police.
Will has been with the police for hours. What's going on?
They're taking turns interrogating him. They'll try to lock him into a story. Then they'll try and poke holes in it so they can impeach him with it in order to make him look like a liar. They'll confront him with key pieces of evidence. Autopsy photos, diagrams of the yacht, timelines, anything that might put his version of events into question. And if they aren't hearing what they want from Will, they might make him some kind of plea offer.
No, why would they do that?
So he confesses or blames you.
No, he won't do that. Ever since we were kids, people say that Will has taken advantage of me. He doesn't. He's been like a brother to me. He has given me more than my whole family has.
We did a quick background check on Will, Robert. We found out the police were called out to Will and Amanda's house 3 months ago on a domestic violence call.
That was nothing. All right, their maid called. She heard Amanda throw a vase against a wall during an argument with Will. The police never charged Will with anything.
You said Will's marriage wasn't in trouble, Robert.
Well, I didn't think that it was. I mean, they argued. You know, Amanda hated that Will was such a workaholic, and he hated that she spent so much of his money. They weren't breaking up over it.
Will said he and Amanda fought that night. Did you see it?
They were just fighting about the same stuff, mostly. Work, money. Except that Amanda was drunk and she threw a glass of wine in Will's face. That's when she got up and left the restaurant. Look, I know it sounds bad, but I've seen them fight like that before. Look, they're passionate people, all right? It doesn't mean they didn't love each other.
Is that true? Or is that just something Will convinced you of?
Oh, no, it's the truth.
Even if Will does rehire us, I'm not sure we should represent both him and Robert.
Why?
Why? Isn't it obvious? A wife ends up dead. The husband usually did it. Will and Amanda were fighting that night. He was angry and drunk. I think Will killed Amanda, and Robert's got nothing to do with it.
So what makes you so sure Robert wasn't involved?
Because he called us in to defend Will. He's more concerned about Will than himself.
And you buy that?
That somebody could care more about a friend than themselves? Yeah, Ron, I buy that. The guy's loyal. Robert wants to protect Will because he gave him a job and took care of him. I respect that. It's the kind of guy I want to defend.
Fine. Seems naive to me, but you're entitled to your opinion. I won't argue it. Look, if you really think Robert is innocent, then the best way to defend him is to represent both him and Will. It keeps Will from pointing the finger at Robert and also from hiring a high-priced lawyer who will cut a plea deal that makes Robert the fall guy.
Defend a guilty client to get an innocent one off. That's what you're saying.
We don't know for sure that either one of them did it. They both deny it. And I'd rather have Will in the tent with us pissing out than outside the tent pissing in.
They have arrested and charged Will with murder. And they've just got a new warrant to arrest Robert.
We're going to defend you, Robert. Don't worry.
Will wants a lawyer. You're right, Ron. He was asking for you.
Of course he is. He's arrogant, not stupid. He knows we're the best firm to handle his and Robert's case.
You're defending both of us? Can you do that? I wanted to rehire you for myself.
Nice you're thinking about Robert like that. A lawyer can represent two defendants at the same time as long as both of them have the same defense. Like in this case. You and Robert agree that neither of you had anything to do with Amanda's death, right?
Yeah. I told the cops I never even saw Amanda get back on the yacht.
They charged you and Robert, Will. You must have told them something bad.
I didn't. I just told them I didn't know how Amanda died, which is true.
Good. Let's sign that. It's called a wheat waiver. It says both you and Robert are waiving conflict of interest claims based on our defending you. Robert's already signed it.
What's the problem, Will? Is there a conflict? Do you want to blame Robert for this? Did you tell the police that he killed Amanda?
No. He is my best friend. I'm just wondering if two sets of lawyers might not be better, you know? 2 against 1?
We don't like to co-try cases, but feel free to go elsewhere for counsel, Will. If you do, you'll be handing the DA 2 convictions, yours and Robert's. The minute you go separate ways, you'll end up blaming one another, and the jury will convict you both.
You can't represent both guys. It's a conflict.
Conflict? What conflict? They both have a right to an attorney. They've chosen me. With my firm's resources, talent, and record, can you blame them?
When he talked to the police, Will Bechtel blamed Robert Jones for Amanda's murder. I call that a conflict. You're now ethically obligated to tell your client Robert about it.
Hold on, you don't really believe Robert killed Amanda on the boat. You believe Will did, right? You want Robert to know what Will said so that Robert will turn on Will, and you'll get yourself 2 easy convictions when they start to point fingers at each other.
I'll give Robert a good deal if he testifies against Will. Tell him that. You can't represent both clients, Ron. Drop Will. Save Robert. You have an hour to decide.
You were willing to blame your best friend for a murder you didn't commit?
I just told the police that Robert may have killed Amanda.
Why would you say that?
Because they asked me if it was possible. What was I supposed to say?
Nothing. You should have kept your mouth shut like I told you to.
I was exhausted. The DA was there.
Reyes?
Yeah, he offered me a plea deal. I thought I should at least listen to him. I didn't take the deal. I don't really think that Robert did this.
So we're clear. If you say another word about this case to anyone, we'll drop you as a client.
Fine. Maybe it's time I found myself a new lawyer anyway.
You do that, and I promise we'll bury you. We'll say you killed Amanda. Who do you think the jury's gonna believe did it? You're the one who got a glass full of wine in the face that night.
You'd better listen to us, or we fire you as a client, and you go down for this.
How could Will say that I killed Amanda? You know, I want my own lawyer. Will's been paying your fees. You want to protect him, not me.
No, that's not true. We're still your lawyers.
He said that I did it.
Yeah, well, we talked to Will. Look, what he said doesn't matter. Even though he wasn't represented by a lawyer at the time, he told us he was engaged in plea negotiations, which means the DA can't use what he said against him. The statements are also hearsay, so they can't be used against you either. Look, I'm not going to let you go down for anything Will did. And I'm going to make sure that he doesn't do something like this to you again.
Alden, what does the medical examiner's report show?
He determined that this bruising running along Amanda's back was caused by blunt force trauma, a beating.
Is there any way she could have fallen and hit her back as she was going into the water?
I don't think so. The bruising pattern suggests she was beaten badly. But there's no evidence of foul play on the boat. No blood, no signs of struggle.
I love it. The DA has nothing.
The DA's got two things going for him, Ron. The fight between Will and Amanda at the restaurant and the fact that Will is rich. Juries hate rich people.
So we've got two things going for us. No forensic evidence linking Amanda's death to the boat.
What's the other thing we've got?
Sharks.
Sharks?
Sharks.
Sharks didn't kill her, Ron.
Yeah, but they ate half of her. We need someone to testify about sharks.
I don't see the relevance.
Neither do I right now. Find a way to make it relevant.
Why?
Because people love sharks. So let's give the jury what they want, a good shark demonstration.
Even if it's irrelevant.
A good trial lawyer can make anything relevant.
Fine. I'll call an ichthyologist.
A what?
A fish expert.
No, I want someone I know, someone who will shine on the stand, like Dr. Shaw. Let's use him.
He's not an ichthyologist.
Because he's a top-notch criminalist. He can testify about anything relevant to any crime. He's our Henry Lee, only better looking.
I just found proof that Will had a motive for killing Amanda. And we scanned all of Will and Amanda's financial and legal documents. I mean, you can't imagine their estate planning. They had a web of investments that included hundreds of trusts, real estate properties, tax-deferred stocks and bonds. They had a lawyer and a banker working full-time on just their holdings. I mean, they even had a bank vault to keep all their documents in. They had all their bases covered. Even the dog was provided for in the will. Ron, listen to this. You want to know the only document we didn't find? A prenup, because there wasn't one. Had they split up, it would have cost Will a fortune. Killing her was a great business plan. It saved them millions.
Have they met with divorce lawyers?
We don't think so. Maybe Will wanted to get rid of her before the divorce stage.
Or not. I love your commitment to proving our client is guilty, Tom. Let's focus on what the DA can prove.
That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to anticipate the DA's game plan so that we can defend against it.
No, you're looking for a way to show Will did it so we drop him as a client and defend Robert alone. We're not doing it.
You'd be surprised how many cases involving water I've testified in. Drownings, boat crashes. The research I did indicates two types of sharks bit into your victim. Blue sharks, like this guy here, and horn sharks.
What's the difference?
Blue sharks are big. They get up to 12 feet. Horn sharks are a lot smaller and less fierce. These guys usually hide out during the day and come out only at night. And unlike blue sharks, which are deep-sea fish, horn sharks are found mostly in shallow water.
Like near the shore.
That's right. That help you?
Is there any way to tell whether the horn sharks got to Amanda's body before the blue ones did?
These deep bites here were most likely made by a blue shark. Yeah, it looks like he bit into flesh that had already been worked over by a smaller set of teeth.
Like a horn shark?
Yeah. It's like if someone bit into an apple and left a bite pattern. Then if someone with bigger teeth bit into that pattern, you'd know it. Yeah, I'd say the horn sharks got to your victim first.
If we can prove she was killed on the island, then dragged to the beach and dumped in the water, Will and Robert aren't the only murder suspects. Everyone on the island is a murder suspect, too. She was killed on the island by someone else. That's our story. Look at whether there are people with criminal records who live on the island. Focus on those closest to the restaurant where our group had dinner. They're prime suspects.
But you still can't rule out that Will may have killed Amanda and that Robert helped cover it up. Robert had a reckless driving charge when he was a kid. That's a complete police report of the incident. Take a look at who's in the car with Robert.
Will made you take a reckless driving charge when you were a kid, didn't he, Robert? We looked at the police report. It said that Robert sideswiped 3 cars while driving your car, Will. You were in the passenger seat. It was your new car. Now, what are the odds you would have let Robert drive it?
I was drunk. We were celebrating. We'd just graduated from high school. I was about to launch the website, and I decided to go for a drive. It was stupid. Robert told me not to, but I didn't listen.
And you got into the driver's seat before the police showed up?
Yeah. A drunk driving charge would have ruined Will. His company. I mean, he was about to get financing for it.
And whose idea was it for you to take the blame? Will's? Did Will kill Amanda? Are you covering for him again?
I wouldn't do that.
Not for this.
Listen, I screwed up by going to the police. I should have listened to you guys. And Robert, I'm sorry I blamed you. That was so wrong. But you gotta believe me. I didn't kill Amanda. I didn't kill my wife. I swear, I didn't do it.
He didn't do it, Tom. I know he didn't.
We can prove that Amanda wasn't killed on the yacht and dumped at sea like the DA says. We can show she was actually killed near the shore and deposited in shallow water. The shark bites prove it.
No, all we need are other murder suspects. Have we found any?
Maybe. Those dots represent 3 convicted felons who live and work in the area where Amanda was last seen. This guy was convicted of aggravated assault. He was working as a waiter in a cafe across the street from where Amanda, Will, and Robert had dinner. He's a murderer who works in a hotel down the street. He's an armed robber who runs a bar further down.
Focus on the felon whose crime most resembles Amanda's murder. That's who we're going to point to as the killer.
Okay, Robert has lied to cover up for Will in the past, but I don't think he's doing it now.
Good. There's something else out there. It might be real or not.
What is it?
I got a call from a reporter at the Times. He wanted me to confirm whether Will was having an affair.
Will? I don't like the guy, but there's no evidence he was having an affair. Ron, if Will was cheating on Amanda, the marriage was over and he was lying to us. If that's true, we're dropping Will from the case. Agreed? That reporter, Ron, was onto something. Amanda did a lot of traveling this last year. Europe, Asia, South America. She's the red line. In January, she was in London, Paris, and Prague. April, Hong Kong and Sydney. And the blue line shows Will's travel.
They both did a lot of traveling to different places.
It's healthy for married people to get away from each other.
This coming from a man who's been married 3 times?
Well, Will's trip's business or pleasure?
Business. But Amanda's were all pleasure.
Who's the green line?
Robert. Took a look at his travel plans, too. Same as Amanda's.
They were traveling together?
Yeah. I think they were lovers.
Will wasn't the one having the affair. Amanda was.
You want motive for Will killing Amanda? How about the fact that she was cheating on him with Robert? Let's hope the prosecution doesn't find out. Break it up! Listen, next one to start something finishes it with me. Understand?
These 2 your clients, Ron?
Yeah, and they're best friends.
This should be interesting.
Gentlemen, this is Miranda Lee, our jury consultant. She's going to help us make you presentable for trial. Black eyes and broken jaws won't help us.
My best friend, Robert. How could you sleep with my wife?
What do you want me to say, Will? I'm sorry. It just happened. All right? You told me to cover for you when you canceled plans. Taking care of Amanda became my job.
Sleeping with her wasn't your job?
It wasn't serious to her, all right? She was in love with you. She was never going to leave you.
Wait a minute. Did you hurt her? Did you kill Amanda?
I'm the one that wanted a radio for the police the second we realized that she wasn't on the yacht. You're the one that said not to. You're the one that said wait till we dock.
You never told us that, Will.
You lied to us, Will. You said the radio wasn't working.
It's because I didn't want to tell the truth. I didn't radio because I figured she was still on the island. When she left the restaurant, I figured she wasn't going back to LA with us. She'd stayed on the island before when we'd fought, so it really just wasn't that big a deal. I didn't radio right away because I didn't think that she was in trouble. Okay, I didn't know that she had been killed.
We got a problem, Ron. Robert and Will have to sit next to each other in court. The jury's going to be watching them every second. If they see how angry Will is at Robert, they're going to think it's because Robert killed Will's wife. It's bad for you.
So what do you suggest?
Get Will over it, get them to be friends again, or don't defend them both. It won't work. Look, I'll talk to them, get them ready. That's what you paid me for, right? You're not really good at smoothing things over.
Kyle Brown, convicted murderer. Killed a woman 20 years ago. Abducted her, beat her to death with a rock, and dumped her body off of a ravine.
He lives on the island?
Yes, since being paroled a year ago. Works nights on a cleaning crew in a hotel near the restaurant where our group ate. Also has an outstanding warrant for his arrest in connection with a robbery in LA.
I love it. This guy's a great murder suspect. We're going to defend this with an empty chair.
We're going to blame this on someone who isn't even in court? Someone the police never even interviewed.
Why not? We'll say Kyle Brown killed Amanda. We're going to say the police rushed to judgment because there were 3 people on the boat. They never even looked for anyone else.
Kyle Brown's not gonna like being called a murderer.
Then he should stop killing people. Subpoena him. Let's give him the chance to defend himself.
He's got a warrant on him now, Ron. You subpoena him, he's gonna run.
We can only hope so. In the meantime, see this? It's a motion to sequester the jury. I'm going to ask Reyes if he'll join me in filing it.
Wait, you're moving to sequester the jury? If that happens, the jury can't watch the news, read the papers, or anything.
Relax. The judge will never grant my motion. The point is getting Reyes to oppose it.
It's fine. Let's talk this evening. Ron, not now. I'm busy.
I don't care. This sequestering motion is important to our case. The media reporting is killing us. It's a matter of fairness.
Forget it. I'm not going to be responsible for sequestering 12 jurors to an economy motel for 2 weeks with no TV and no family.
If we don't file it together, the jury will hate my clients for it.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. Go file your motion. I'm opposing it.
Remember your friends. Say something to Will Robert as a condolence. Jury's passing photos of his dead wife. Well, not an appreciation.
I'm sorry. Perform his exam of the body. Right after the victim was found. What did Amanda Bechtel's autopsy photo show?
That she was severely beaten. The force and number of blows suggested her murder was committed in the heat of the moment by somebody who was very angry.
She and her husband fought at a restaurant on Catalina.
Yeah. Witnesses said it was bad. Will Bechtel and his wife were drinking. He told her he was sick of how much of his money she was spending. That's when she threw her wine in his face and left. Given the fact Amanda Bechtel washed up dead on a beach 2 days later, we believe Will Bechtel killed his wife in a drunken rage while they were at sea, and that his friend, Robert Jones, also participated in the crime and helped cover it up.
Covered it up how?
By lying. They didn't report Amanda Bechtel missing until they docked in L.A. They claimed it was because the radio wasn't working on the boat. We tested the radio. It was working fine.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
First of all, just to be absolutely clear, you don't have any real evidence that either one of these men killed Amanda Bechtel, do you, Detective?
I just gave you the evidence.
Well, that's not evidence, that's a theory. You don't have any evidence that Amanda Bechtel even boarded the yacht after leaving the restaurant, do you? I mean, no one actually saw her get on the boat, right?
No.
Let me ask you about Kyle Brown. What did he say when you questioned him about Amanda Bechtel?
Objection, relevance.
I'm getting there. This is a cross-examination. My clients have the right to confront this witness about what he did or didn't do during the investigation of this case.
Objection overruled.
I don't know of Kyle Brown.
You don't know Kyle Brown? The one convicted of bludgeoning a woman to death and dumping her body in a ravine. Kyle Brown, who lives on the island. You never questioned him.
No, I didn't.
And you didn't know, up until this moment, that he works nights at one of the hotels that Amanda Bechtel would have had to walk by on her way back to the yacht from the restaurant.
No.
Or that he had outstanding warrants for his arrest? I mean, he wasn't that hard to find. Our investigators found him, served him with a subpoena. He's a convicted murderer. And yet, our clients are on trial for murder. Your Honor, our next witness is Kyle Brown. But at this time, we would like to address the court outside the presence of the jury.
Very well.
This was a stunt.
Then why didn't you object?
Because you didn't put anything on the record, that's why. Everything was done with hand signs and looks.
Your Honor, we've got proof of service. We subpoenaed Kyle Brown.
You can't put a witness on the stand to claim the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination in front of the jury. It's too prejudicial. The jury will think he committed this murder.
We're not putting Kyle Brown on the stand to take the fifth. We're not putting him on at all. That's what Mr. Nicholson was trying to tell the court. Apparently, Kyle Brown fled the jurisdiction.
Your Honor, they issued the subpoena knowing it would cause Brown to flee.
What are we, fortune tellers? How would we know that? I had a good faith belief he would show. The law compelled him to.
And when we're done here, Mr. Trott is going to go out there and announce to the press that Kyle Brown fled. He knows the jury will see it on tonight's news.
I resent the suggestion that I've engaged in gamesmanship. I was the one who requested that the jury be sequestered to start with. The prosecution opposed our motion. How dare he accuse me of manipulation?
Mr. Reyes, you may redirect your witness if you like.
Mr. Nicholson suggested that you mishandled the investigation.
Wait a minute, what is Reyes doing?
When did you close the investigation?
When Will Bechtel told us he believed Robert Jones had murdered his wife on the boat.
Objection, Your Honor.
To what? I have a good faith belief that Mr. Trott and Mr. Nicholson opened the door to this questioning when they suggested in court that Detective Lujan had mishandled the investigation.
This is an improper line of questioning concerning things that may have been said during plea negotiations.
Mr. Reyes.
I'll withdraw the question, Your Honor.
Reyes just paid us back.
You said Will's statement wouldn't get into trial. You promised it couldn't be used. The jury just heard that he said I killed Amanda.
Look, trials aren't perfect. What Will said, it shouldn't have come in, all right? Now, the DA's playing hardball just like we are. He wants to win this as badly as we do.
Well, can we appeal what he did or get a mistrial and start over?
No, the judge instructed the jury to disregard the question.
Just disregard? How can they disregard it? They just heard it.
Look, I'm sorry. It was a Bush League move by the prosecutor. It happens. We've got the rest of the trial, Robert. We can still win this.
Your body language is projecting anger.
Directing your attention to the monitor.
Move closer to Will. And give him a friendly smile.
The shark bites found on Amanda Bechtel's body.
What do these photographs show?
The shark bite patterns indicate that the victim was killed on land and dumped near a shoreline. These first bites in the body were made by horn sharks. You only find those sharks in shallow water.
Amanda Bechtel was last seen in the southwest part of Catalina. Can you explain how, if she was dumped and killed in that area, her body washed up miles away on the southeast part of the island?
Yes, I believe tidal currents carried her body from one part of the island to the other. After she was dumped near the shore, a riptide could have carried her out to sea, where a tidal current most likely picked her up and deposited her on the beach, where she was found.
The prosecution is arguing that Amanda Bechtel was killed on a boat while out in the ocean. So we're clear, as an expert criminalist, you don't agree with that?
No, I don't. It's not supported by the evidence. I believe that Amanda Bechtel was killed on the island.
Thank you. No further questions.
Sharks. Awesome. I just have one question. Even if Amanda Bechtel was killed on the island, that doesn't clear these two defendants of the crime, does it? I mean, they were on the island too. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Court is in recess.
We've got to put one of them on the stand.
Not Robert. If the DA knows about his affair with Amanda, he'll bury him with it. He'll say it was Robert's motive to kill her.
Maybe that's why Reyes hasn't brought up the affair. He's waiting for us to put Robert on the stand so that he can sandbag him with it.
And we've got to put Will on the stand. The jury has to hear from one of them.
Well, now is Will's chance to make good.
Yeah, well, Will better come through. Otherwise, he and Robert are both going down.
Sit up. Your body language suggests that you couldn't care less.
This is the advice that I'm paying for. I'm on trial for murder, and you're giving me advice about my posture?
She's trying to help prepare you for trial so that you don't get killed on the stand. Listen to her.
Are you going to let Miranda do her job?
I cannot believe we are basing our entire defense on this guy's testimony. It's crazy. Do you remember what happened with the police? Will couldn't even hold it together. Plus, I've been saying to you all along, I think he's guilty. And ethically, we can't
put a guilty guy on the stand.
What are you, the jury now? We don't know that he's guilty. Our job is to put on the best defense we can for Will and Robert. Putting Will on the stand is our best hope.
People don't like you, Will, because you're rich and arrogant and act like you're above the law. As a result, people are predisposed to convict you. Because you're worth more than most countries and don't have the decency to pretend you aren't, you feel entitled. The way you're sitting in that chair, for example, shows a lack of respect.
I have respect for people. You don't know me. And I am so sick of people judging me because I'm successful. Since when does that make me a murderer? I didn't kill my wife. Understand?
I need a moment alone with Will.
Sure.
That night on the island, it hurt your ego when Amanda threw wine in your face.
She had a temper, so what?
You're avoiding the question. Worse, you're blaming Amanda. You're also pretending it didn't hurt. The jury won't believe you. They'll wonder what else you're lying about. It hurt, didn't it?
I was embarrassed.
Embarrassed? You were humiliated. And guys like you don't take public humiliation lightly, do you?
It made you angry.
This is ridiculous. I wouldn't kill her over that.
I don't think you had ever been angrier, isn't that true? Because you realized at that moment, the more you tried to give her, the less she loved you. You gave her everything. All the money she could have spent, but it wasn't enough, was it?
How do you know that?
I've been married 3 times. You gave to her and she kept throwing it back in your face. Admit it. You were angry.
I didn't kill her.
It's the reason you waited to radio the police. You were happy. She was gone.
No.
Why didn't you radio then? She was your wife. It was dark. She was on an island by herself. Why not radio in, Will? You can admit it. You were pissed off, that's why. You lied about it because of how bad it made you look to the police and how bad it made you feel inside.
How do you know these things?
A lot of people, including my partner Tom, think you're guilty of murdering your wife. Personally, I try not to have an opinion on it. What matters is that we make sure the jury knows you're grieving, not because you killed your wife, but because you feel responsible for other reasons. I think you realize you may have failed to save the woman you really loved by not radioing sooner, and I think you've been living with that guilt ever since.
I didn't radio right away because I was still angry over what had happened in the restaurant. I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. What if I'd radioed? Maybe she might still be with me.
Did you kill her?
No. No, I didn't.
No further questions. You're a liar.
A liar? Yes, I am. I lied to the police about the radio not working because I was ashamed of what I did. And I also lied about who may have been involved in my wife's murder. I blamed my best friend because I was scared. I failed him. And I failed my wife. But I didn't kill her. And neither did Robert.
I have never been so scared in my whole life.
You're gonna be okay. You didn't do anything wrong.
The clerk will record the verdict.
On the single count of murder in the first degree as to defendant Robert Jones, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. On the single count of murder in the first degree as to defendant Will Bechtel, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Thank you for everything.
You guys saved my life. I owe you.
No, you don't. We just did our job. What's the matter, Ron? No press conference? Just got 2 innocent clients off. You think they did it now?
3 people on the out, Tom. One of them turns up dead. It's one or both of the other guys that did it.
We talked about this. Stop it. Put your hands off me. I love you. I said it's over. What happened?